book, one of those interpretations of spirituality and Eastern mysticism. I refer to it frequently, given to me by, drum roll please, Oprah Winfrey.
Microwave singer?
Winfrey. Huh?
What?
Oprah Winfrey. She sent that round my house.
Oprah Winfrey gave you this?
Winfrey. If Oprah Winfrey gives you a book, you're going to read it, aren't you? Because what does she know? I'll tell you something about Oprah Winfrey, Matthew. She edits in the room. Like, while she was interviewing me, like, you know, I wrote... there's two things you should know about Oprah Winfrey, Serafina. There's two things you should know about Oprah. One, she said this thing. Like, when I wrote that thing about Philip Seymour Hoffman, she goes, I read that and it touched me, and I knew that if it touches me, it'll touch a million other people too. And I thought, that may be true of me in general. but like, I thought, what an incredible confidence to have in your opinion, that... If something, you know, like if something reaches me, I know it. That means it has universal appeal. That's an incredible confidence. The other thing she does is she's.
So hang on, where did that lead it to? What? So she gave it? Did she?
I go and do an interview with Oprah Winfrey on the telly.
Oh, right, about that.
Yeah, like about drugs in general. I was like a pundit on drug deaths. Say, like on Match of the Day, you've got ex-footballers going, you know, in a situation like that,
could have been me. Could have been me.
Yeah, well, no, he said, well, what Hoffman's done there is he's made the classic error of taking some time off drugs, then going back to his usual intake. He's overdosed, Oprah. And what were the emotional conditions? Oh, well, I'd say, no, you get down in the dumps, Oprah, if you're a drug addict. Oh, you can get down. No, what Hoffman's done is he's done that. So, like, she sort of like brought me on as a pundit. I'm a pundit on a drug death. I'm a drug death pundit. What she does, though, was when I'm telling my stories, like, she's asked me, like, you know, to go on, whine on a bit about drugs. And I'll sort of, here we go, trot it out.
Once I went through my mum's handbag and I just took some money and spent it all on, you've got drugs. That sort of stuff.
I picked up a lipstick as well while I was in there. Not to use it, I just like the mechanism. In, out, in, out. Funny old things. The drugs were eating me up, Oprah. But like, cliches. And like, but while I was trotting them out, Oprah, if you're saying something that she thinks boring, she just like looks and say, I'll be talking, right? Yeah. And I'm like going on about drugs, sort of feelings and whatnot. Oprah, she'll just, if she's bored, she makes eye contact with you, and somewhere in yourself you're thinking, look at Oprah Winfrey, she's looking right at me. I'm having a time of my life. She's looking right at me. Then if she gets bored, she just goes like that, and you feel, oh no, Oprah's not interested. She looks downcast, she just removes her gaze, and you think, oh God, I better change the subject or up the ante. So some of my drug stories went crazy in the end. I was borrowing Robert Downey Jr.'s drug stories, things that I'd seen on the television.
How do you say, well, you said she edits in the room. That's just her looking down at her notes, probably.
No, mate, it's
she
brutal.
Sort of goes, we can't use any of this.
No.
This is boring.
Her looking down has that impact.
Oh, what, so they turn
when she looks down,
off.
you can tell that ain't getting used.
Oh.
I know, it's very disheartening.
That's the worst system for you. Because a lot of people go, oh, this is going nowhere, she doesn't like it, I'll wait for the next question. But you'll go, and there was a dinosaur there. And he was on drugs.
The pair of us, me and this Diplodocus, were out of our nuts on drugs. Oprah, you better believe it, baby.
What's she like, though, as a person?
I tried to see if I could hack into the mainframe.
What does that mean? Have sex with her?
No, understand her on a deeper psychological level, but... She's Oprah Winfrey. She spends her whole life only, like all famous people. All famous people, they'll only let you get to a certain level. There's a facade up there, and you can't get through that. They'll deal with it. You'd have to learn. I mean, I'm a famous person, aren't I? You have to learn good small talk, good chat of where you let people. And then if someone says something that's really interesting, which most, then you go, oh, bloody hell, come in. Or maybe they're attractive in some way. Right. Then you let them through the old facade and into the inner realms of what I call my anus. No, I don't call it that. Call him the winking wonder. No, I wouldn't do that. No. So yeah, so like famous, like all famous people, because when the uber famous, e.g. Oprah Winfrey, Tom Cruise, like you sort of see them recoil in horror. When I've been around David Beckham, I've sensed David Beckham thinking, this guy's going to fucking ruin it for everyone. Really? I can feel his energy of like, keep away from me.
So they've drawn a line and you can sense the line?
You can sense that they're sort of like, certain people I suppose are intrigued and like interested, but other people, they feel that, there's danger in this fella. He could capsize me.
Right.
And I've felt it quite a lot.
And so like...
Not just famous
Beckham,
people.
No, Oprah Winfrey.
Everyone.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
They're all sort of on a certain level where they're a brand.
That's right, and they've got when a real brand comes along, they've got to be careful. Yeah, so like Oprah Winfrey, I've been around her twice, and actually the first time was awful because I'd gone down to do a chat show with Rosie O'Donnell. I think it was in Chicago, and Oprah was producing it, and I was bowling about, and I was like in the corridors, I don't know, trying to pass the time prior to the record, and Oprah was in the gallery directing a segment that was, the show was already on. I was in their fourth part or whatever. Oprah was in the gallery, excuse me for burping, like directing everything she ain't got no shoes or socks on.
Who, Oprah?
She had no shoes or socks on. I guess she weren't dressed. She was wearing like posh frock, like she was going to a do, but she took her shoes and socks off.
With the shoes and socks under the desk.
I didn't see that far. I was just watching the masterful, I suppose so. I was just watching, she could have had them in a dress. It was like a masterful performance. You sort of like the way she went, okay, go camera 5, or yeah, push in on that one, come away. Like,
so she's in the gallery directing a show?
She was in the gallery directing away. And I was affected by it because I thought of how, sort of, it's the first episode, so I guess she was just, putting a stamp on it. It was on her network or whatever. And then I went back to the dressing room and I was telling Nick Lennon from Manchester, like all about what I'd just seen, and I was going like, oh, you should have seen Oprah Winfrey. She's a very commanding presence, and you could see why she's become such a celebrity. She walked in the room, and I was talking about her, and it's horrible, isn't it, when you're talking about someone and they walk in the room?
Yeah, but you weren't being negative.
I weren't being negative, but it was still talking about her, and I felt
she's got disgusting feet, all curled up and mangled toes.
That baby Rihanna's grasping at the floor. Hey, you're going to start conkers between her toes. Hello, Oprah. I was just talking about another thing that isn't your feet. And then I saw you there. I thought, how much I love. Marry me? Will you marry me? She walked in and I panicked. And I tried to, redress this. I thought, just admit it. Just go, I was talking about you then, Oprah Winfrey, how you were directing the show. Tell her the whole story.
Yeah.
And I saw her slam down the shutters of that's as far as you're allowed to come in my life.
I was like, Jesus.
There are no shutters. We're not in an East German police station.
Oh, you saw that? She just went, this guy's nuts.
I just saw as if it passed across if it was like a dot matrix ticker tape screen across her forehead going, person is nuts. Oprah, walk away now. Oprah, disengaging.
So this book...
she just walked out.
This book that she gave you...
Yeah, Untethered Soul.
Clearly now you can sort of build up a picture of why she...
Hey!
Get one of those books for that guy.
Oprah, disengaged from Guy. Give Guy life help book.
Help book. Give help to Guy. With great love and respect, Michael A. Singer. Well, he signed it. Okay, it's not a personal message.
Yeah, personal message to someone.
Russ.
Operation. She spoke to me with such illuminating clarity and purpose. It was incredible because the frequency I communicate with my mum on, it's this very humdrum, domestic, never known it not to be there, ordinary. It's developed into me as a sort of I'm an only child and all that kind of stuff that comes with that, and a male child. But she spoke to me with this kind of certainty and truth. Oh, Russell, you think you know everything, and I sometimes think, oh, shut up, I'm older than you, but you're a good boy. It was just sort of so clear.
Well, so she wouldn't say that sort of thing in normal life.
No, she wouldn't have that certainty. It was like with the encumbrances of constructed character washed away by the experience and the morphine. She spoke so truthfully. It was sort of. You know that word hallowed? You don't get that word used much. Hallowed Harry Potter title, hallowed be thy name, Lord's Prayer. It means like the presence of a holiness. Yeah, she spoke to me like it was coming from somewhere beautiful and intense and true. And even though she was being sort of very dismissive about it was like, I was like, oh, okay, Mum, yeah, sorry. I felt like all sort of I felt it was nice. It felt real and like something was tuned in.
Wheeled her around the world just telling people how it is.
Oh, there you go, you silly sods. What are you doing?
East. Come on, guys.
Why don't you calm down? You die anyway, It was really it was so sort of sweet.
Does she remember it?
No, she don't. I obviously know, essentially that's who my mum is,
That's sad that she's not. Well, that's that she's probably
off more.
I think because we've been talking about watching the Undateables when you see autistic people, right? And sometimes their voice that they that seems like socially unacceptable and there's something wrong with this guy, he's got a condition, right, is just pure sort of personality, pure thought, without all the sort of like the stuff, the manacles you put on it by
sometimes
politeness and stuff.
A lot of forms of mental illness, with us being relatively detached from most forms of it, other than the forms that we perhaps suffer from, it sometimes seems, other than its negative social and personal side effects, like there seems like all this is there's not the appendixes and ancillaries of character. Once removed, people speak very clearly and plainly. It talks about that in Untethered Soul, actually. It goes, you will openly say while you're at work, I can't wait to get home where I can be myself. You openly accept that who you're being at work isn't yourself. And they go, but then when you get back home, that too is not a version of yourself. Then even when then it goes, who are you? Who is it that thinks these thoughts? When are you ever yourself? Never. Because you are lost and in pain. Sometimes Untethered Soul, it's just like Oprah Winfrey giving you a smack in the mouth.
Yeah.
Look at you, you
But
twerp.
the beginning, right?
You come on my show, you little bore.
It says...
What do you know about Philip Seymour Hoffman's death? You're a twit.
Yeah, but do you have that inner voice when you're doing stuff? I always do. Like, you don't know about this, you're out of your depth.
I hate that.
What
Sometimes
is that?
he kicks in. I think it's the ego and the constant regulation of the left side of the mind. That Jill Bolte Taylor, who had that hemorrhage on the left side of her brain, said that she said her consciousness remained, but one aspect of her consciousness, this self-regard and commentary, this cataloguing of detail, stopped, and she felt herself as an energy being encountering limitless energy to the point where the atoms in her hand, as she looked at it, blended with the atoms of the outside
So
world.
like Buddhism. So she went... for a science, so she's a psychiatrist?
She's a neurologist. She's not a
neurologist,
psychologist.
and she had a stroke.
So it's like, that's why it's a TED talk. Jill Bolte Taylor, what's it called? My Stroke of Insight. It's got some sort of punning name, but it's an amazing piece because it's sort of like someone who speaks the language of neurology, talking about what sounds like a deeply spiritual experience, or if not spiritual, a different way of experiencing consciousness, which for me is spiritual.
Yeah, right. So this book that Untethered Soul, given to you by Oprah Winfrey. It starts like this. Shoot, I can't remember her name. What is her name? Damn, here she comes. What is it, Sally? Sue? She just told me yesterday. What's the matter with me? This is going to be embarrassing. And then he says, in case you haven't noticed, you have a mental dialogue going on inside your head that never stops. It just keeps going and going. Have you ever wondered why it talks in there? How does it decide what to say and when to say it? And basically he says... he goes, if you're hearing, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't have any voice inside my head, that's the voice we're talking about. And it sort of basically then says, which one's the real you? Who are you? Are you the little scared mouse inside your head going, oh, don't say that, oh God, I can't remember her name? I think I'm him more.
What do you want to be him for? He's a right
I don't
idiot.
want to be him.
Don't be.
He's dominant.
Don't let him.
Who's yours?
Mr.
You're
Pickle
external.
Fingers. Who's mine?
Your external, sort of who you actually like.
Well, if you can
how
cut
much
down...
inner dialogue do you have? Like when you're like...
None. I've cut it all out. I say every word of the stuff. Every single word. If I think it, I say it. No, I think the reason I identify with this trickster, of course I feel all those, that neurosis and self-doubt and anxiety, often alone in the dead of night or whatever, then it all kicks in like, oh God, I have no family, you're worthless. And I go to him, why don't you shut up? This is great. We can fill this house with people and a couple of phone calls. Woohoo!
Well, back when I said to Noel Gallagher that I was, basically I got run down and went to the doctor and said, I just feel like depressed. I just feel depressed. And she did blood tests, and I was really deficient in vitamin D, which we get from sunlight, right? So I started taking vitamin D spray.
You were like a hermit all locked indoors.
Yeah,
worried.
basically. Well, no, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't living in a
you
cave.
got no
I'd been
vitamin
to
D?
California. I don't know why. But anyway.
How much vitamin D do you need?
You need a lot, mate. And
No, but
we don't get
you
it.
didn't have enough.
Oh, I need more than most.
You're going for it at a right old rate.
And then, so I sprayed this stuff under my tongue every day for ages, right?
Oh, dear.
Yes, it was that. No, it was vitamin D. I bought it off Amazon.
Fair enough.
Because they give you tablets to the doctors, but this stuff's much better.
What do you mean? You're going with Amazon over the doctor?
Yeah, because the reviews were bad. But anyway, let's not get bogged down in
don't
that.
have a review. He's a doctor, isn't he? He gives you the prescription, there you go.
Yeah, but I looked into it and I was like, I don't want to take tablets, and there's this
I'm
spray.
not going to the dentist.
Anyway,
I'll
felt
get this
much
done on
better.
Facebook.
But we had dinner with Noel Gallagher.
Chiropodist. Twitter, more like.
We had dinner with Noel Gallagher,
got more
and I was
followers.
in the throes of vitamin D deficiency, and I told him, oh yeah, sometimes I worry about like when my wife goes out with my baby, and I think, oh, what if they're hit by a truck and stuff like that? And he thought, well, he hasn't spoke to me since, pretty much.
You're a nervous neris.
He thinks I'm all
You've
right.
worried him.
Yeah, but do you remember?
Oh yeah, Matt, that's perfectly normal. Right, he's gone from your fucking life.
Yeah, he
Just
did.
cut you off.
But Noel Gallagher's
He's as cold as
uncluttered.
ice.
I don't think
he's willing to sacrifice.
Yeah, he's not cluttered by voices.
He's as cold as ice. He's willing to sacrifice. Is what he is. No, he has got a beautiful depth to him, Noel, but he ain't gonna fanny around with that kind
He
of.
doesn't seem to have anxieties or. Although he did tell me once he went to the doctors because he had one sweaty leg.
I don't like that.
Phone him and ask him.
Well, I think what we've discovered over the course of this show is that there's a pure awareness that supersedes all of the clutter of the mind, a witness deep within, observing all phenomena, and how you catalogue and prioritise that information